Hey everybody, Jason Yee here, and welcome to this mechanics tutorial on how to protect the puck like Sidney Crosby. It's a 6-week tutorial, and who am I? I am a former pro hockey player, kinesiologist, and the founder of Train 2.0, and what we're up to here is we're doing a 6-week tutorial on how to protect the puck like Sidney Crosby, and this is a mechanics perspective on how to protect the puck like Crosby. We really break down his mechanics and isolate them for you to learn. And how this works is the first 3 weeks are shown for free on YouTube, and then the last 3 weeks, where we really stack everything together, is inside of my course called the Downhill Skating System. And it's a mechanics approach to skating where we break down the mechanics of the best NHLers, and we show them to you so that you can learn them in a simple system of drills and different coaching cues. So what we're going to look at today is something called Crosby's wide puck protect. And so one thing that he does really well is he uses a wide stance to protect the puck. Now this is probably nothing new to a lot of you, that you want to use your outside edge like we talked about last week, using the outside edge. And it's probably nothing new that, hey, if I get in a wide stance here, well, it's going to really protect the puck from whoever's behind me, right? And so we're going to talk about this today. So in wide puck protect, if your hips are in front of the opponent, right? So you can see that Crosby's hips are in front of his opponent's hips. You have a natural hip and leg wall, right? There's just nothing that a player can really do, a defender can really do, to get the puck if your leg is here and your leg is here and you're in a wide stance. Now that's one part of it. But the next part of it is if your hips are internally rotated, meaning that your toes are facing together, any push from an opponent is going to allow you to naturally spin off. Now, what the opposite of that is if you have your hips externally rotated or parallel, then you can't spin off. It's much harder to spin off. It ends up being an off-balance step. And if you have your hips internally rotated and you're in a nice wide stance, not only are you protecting the puck, but it's going to allow you to make plays or spin off in a 10-2 open hip. So let's take a look at this and really break down Crosby's movement. And so here's the 10-2 that we saw from week 1. Here's the outside edge that we saw from week 2. And now, ready for it? There is the wide stance. Now, the other thing I want you all to pay attention to is that not only does he just go into a wide stance, but he maintains his relaxation by internally rotating this toe. Can you see how this toe internally rotates? And it's actually going from, if we look back here, you can see his toe is facing this way, and then he internally rotates it here. And what that allows him to do is any sort of push that he gets, guess what? He doesn't have to then push himself. All he has to do is have this leg fall away. This leg falls away. This foot stays on its track, and he just turns automatically. So he can be very fluid in his movements, even as he has someone absolutely hammering on him and trying to get the puck from him. And that's the beauty of really maximizing or mastering your mechanics. And here's another great example, almost the exact same play, right? So I think we end up seeing like a 10-2, right? We talked about a 10-2. We see a 10-2. We see outside edge. We see more outside edge. And then, wait for it. Oh, there it is. The wide stance, internal hip rotation. And we see this pattern again and again and again. And that's why we did this whole week 1, week 2, week 3. 10-2 mechanic, outside edge, wide puck protect. And that's why we're getting into the mechanics of the wide puck protect. It is a really important mechanic, and there's some critical mechanical distinctions that allow us to make the most of it. So your coaching for this week is practice these movements. A double wide corkscrew, a corkscrew to outside edge roll, and something called the Panarin infinity flow. And what you're going to focus on is the width of your corkscrew and your internal hip rotation. So let me show you what those drills are. Okay, first up, we've got the corkscrew. What you're aiming for out of this is to keep your feet on the ice, and that was the wrong drill. So sorry, this is it. The corkscrew here, like this, you're going to go just down the ice, keeping your feet on the ice, and you're going to be cutting and sculling with your heels. You want to have double shoulder width, so there's my shoulders, there's my feet, so it's double the shoulder width. So that's the corkscrew drill, and that's your first bit of coaching. The second one is the corkscrew to outside edge rollover. And again, what we're focusing on is after we've done our outside edge rollover, internally rotating our hips into the corkscrew afterwards, okay? So that we are able to spin off afterwards. So we want to go from outside edge roll, and then we want to, and we did this last week, right? So we want to go from that and then focusing on your internal hip rotation after you've done the outside edge roll. So once you're in your corkscrew, and that's the second drill. And this is something called the Panarin Infinity Flow. And what we want to focus on again is we are going to tight turn, roll on our outside edge. And then what we're going to do is we're going to focus on getting into that corkscrew. And again, internally rotating the hips wide into that stance. So we're practicing getting wide and internally rotating the hips on the corkscrew. So what you're going to do is you're going to focus on the width of your corkscrew and the internal hip rotation. You're going to do 3 workouts this week, 3 sets of 10 reps. You're going to film 6 reps and get video feedback. So you want to either look at it yourself. If you're in the downhill skating group, you want to be posting that on Facebook, getting feedback from players and from us. Or you want to show it to someone who has a great mechanical eye. And this is going to maximize your progress in learning this. So thank you very much for watching this tutorial on how to protect the puck like Crosby. This is part 3 of the 6-week tutorial. And if you want to see the last 3 lessons, parts 4, 5, 6, that's inside the downhill skating system. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I hope this made a big difference in your game, or I hope that you implement this and see a big difference in your game. And thanks very much for watching, and thanks for putting this into your game, and we'll chat with you soon.